Today's video, 7 high school differences, USA versus Germany.
We are Lisa and Greg, an American couple living abroad in Spain. If you are curious about the crazy, funny, and surprising differences between the US and Europe, you came to the right place. We are on our way to 20,000 subscribers, so go ahead and hit the subscribe button so you can become a part of the family. Are you whispering something over there?
Oh, sorry.
I was like, oh, do I hear something?
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. It's your channel too.
Yeah.
So you can whisper whatever you want to do.
Thanks.
Yes. Oh God. All right. So let's see. Oh, this is these are our friends, Deanna and Phil. We haven't met them or anything.
No.
but they don't know that we're their friends.
Yeah. They don't know we're friends.
Yeah.
We're friends, guys, okay?
Who knows? We might meet them when we go over there. Who knows?
Who knows?
All right. So this is Deanna and Phil, and we will include a link Lisa will include a link in the description, so you can go and show them some love. I'm sure they would appreciate it. We can at least get them
200,000.
Yeah,
They're so close.
At least to get them to 200,000. Wouldn't it be awesome if it was because of our channel that they got to 200,000? I'm sure they'd appreciate that. All right. So, okay, this is bringing back some time here. High school.
Oh my Lord. It's been a minute. A couple moons have crossed.
Yeah, hopefully.
Since we've been to high school.
Yeah.
Our boys have been much. I mean, even our boys. I was thinking about this. Our youngest probably graduated like 10 years ago or something. I don't know. It's been a minute. No, not 10.
No, it was like 2015 or something.
Yeah, see?
So, damn, that's 10 years. I didn't know. Oh, it hasn't been 10 years. It was 2015.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, oops.
I think that's when he graduated. So
yeah, I think that is when he graduated. All right, well, you ready?
It's been a while. Yeah. But we'll remember.
All right, okay, here we go. Let's go.
Okay.
What's up, everybody? We are Deanna and Phil. Deanna here is from the United States, and I, Phil, am from Germany. And in this video, we're going to talk about high school differences between the US and Germany.
Oh, they're going to fight.
We wanted to give a quick disclaimer. These are based on our observations and experiences. Differences are not a negative thing. And we are speaking from our personal experiences. We are not representing Germany or the US as a whole.
Okay.
For reference, I went to a
disclaimers.
public high school in South Carolina with 2,000 to 2,500 students overall.
And I went to a high school here in Germany, a gymnasium. We're going to talk about that later, in a very small town in Germany. So it's a very small high school. I think we only had like 800 kids there. And I can imagine it being a little bit different to the ones in the city, but that's my experience and that's what we're going to talk about. So
our experience.
Go ahead.
I went to an all-girls Catholic school.
And
I went to Catholic school my whole life. Well, from second grade all the way through. So imagine that.
Right.
But yeah, all-girl Catholic school. And there was an all-boys Catholic school like right around the corner. But yeah, that
in California.
In California.
Yeah. And I went to a public school in Nevada.
Yes.
Las Vegas.
Yes.
Okay.
Being a little bit different to the ones in the city, but that's my experience and that's what we're going to talk about. So the first point we want to talk about is the high school concepts. And in Germany, I think we are a little bit peculiar with that because we do not have only one type of high school. We have 3 or even 4 different types of high schools.
Really?
And they're kind of separated by skill level. So in elementary school now, depending on how you perform, you get a recommendation and then you go to the first tier of high school, which will potentially be the university students later on. The name of the first tier is the gymnasium, which is English for the gym, right? The sports hall.
Yeah, where
we call it that.
The awkward locker changing situation.
Weird situation for Germans. Then there's a second tier of high school, which usually do apprenticeships and stuff like that. The second tier is called Realschule. I don't even know. Real school.
Real school, yo. Not the fake school.
And then there's a third tier of high school, and those are also like apprenticeship jobs. And the third one is called Hauptschule, the main school.
Hauptschule.
That's weird.
Interesting.
Yeah. So you kind of get categorized into how good you are in school, and you go to a completely different physical school. Like there's a separate building for each one, and you just go there with all the nerds, all the wonks, and then all the other people go to that one, and that's how it's separated. And I feel like that's kind of weird now that I think back about it.
Yeah, is it all public? These are not considered private schools, right?
No, that's all public schools. It's a public school system in Germany.
Yeah.
There's also a fourth kind for like handicapped people, so they are with each other and get special treatment.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
That is interesting. So the first one, that's super interesting. So there's like a gymnasium school,
which is for the
athletes?
higher. No, has nothing to do with gymnasium. It's for the smart kids, for lack of a better word. You know, like you get recommended to go to that one. So it's for the advanced. That's usually like either readies you for college or something like that.
Okay.
And then the other two are he called them like interns.
Right. Well, I think the third one was like a trade school.
Yeah, trade schools.
And then the second one is just a regular school. And then the fourth one is for handicapped students.
Oh, was the second one for regular school?
I think so.
Or like he was also saying it was like, I thought I heard him say something about interns. No, we're not even paying attention.
Well, let's see here. Go all the way back to
right students here. Later on. The name of the first tier is the gymnasium, which is English for the gym, right? The sports hall.
Yeah, where we call it that. The awkward locker changing situation.
Situation for Germans. Then there's a second tier of high school, which usually do apprenticeships and stuff like that. The second tier is called Realschule. I don't even know.
Real school.
Well, maybe that's
real school, yo. Not the fake school.
And then there's a third tier of high school, and those are also like apprenticeship jobs. And the third one is called Hauptschule, the main school. That's weird.
Interesting.
Yeah. So you kind of get categorized into how good you are in school, and you go to a completely different physical school. Like there's a separate building for each one, and you just go there with all the nerds, all the wonks, and then all the other people go to that one, and that's how it's separated. And I feel like that's kind of weird now that I think back about it.
Yeah, is it all public? These are not considered private schools, right?
No, that's all public schools. It's a public school system in Germany.
Yeah.
There's also a fourth kind for like handicapped people, so they are with each other and get special treatment.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. So when he first mentioned that, I thought it was the difference between like public and private or something. No. So in the US, you have public, private, magnet, charter, all different types of schools.
What is magnet and charter?
I don't know.
I think charter is like, I don't know, magnet, but charter is like a specialized way of teaching them.
Yeah, it's like, oh man, what was the name of that one?
Oh,
I forget. I don't remember.
I don't remember either. But you're trying to check out a specialized charter school?
Yeah.
But I know, we had our charter school right near where we lived. It was like 1 through 8.
Yeah.
They were all together. It was small, it was teeny, but it's like a specialized way of teaching.
Right.
But I don't know how they...
Montessori?
Yeah. Like something like that.
I think that's one of them.
Yeah. And not a magnet school, I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah. Well, let's see what
the specialty schools. I think magnet schools.
Oh, shit. Oh, they wrote it.
Wow. We did it again. Well, we like to guess. I don't know. It probably entertains the people. Because when we get it wrong, they can laugh. And when we get it right, they can say, good job. You know. Yeah. All right. So
okay. Well, the charter schools receive government funding, but operates independently of the established state school system in which it's located.
Okay.
Our type of public school.
So in the U.S., we do.
Wait, what was a magnet?
Okay. I thought she was going to go over it. So magnet schools are the type of public schools with an academic focus, like fine arts, foreign language, performing arts, STEM, science, technology, engineering, math school, or career focus. Often there's a lottery or entrance exam, and magnet schools are allowed to enroll students from across the district or even outside the district.
And that's only because in our public school system, you have to live within the school's district in order to go to that school.
Right.
Unless it's not fairly divided amongst the different races or something like that, then they get bussed in.
Which is what happened to me. But there was a school, like I call it the magnet school. I would call like a technical school, like a trade school. Like I went to one for one semester for electronics.
Oh, maybe it was a magnet school.
Maybe so. It's called Vocational Trade School, Votech. Was the name of it. And then there's also private schools, public schools, trade schools, and continuation schools.
Oh, continuation schools.
Which are for troubled students.
Yeah, they forgot about that one.
Yeah.
Usually those kids get kicked out of their school.
Yeah.
Their grades are failing.
Right.
For whatever reason. Or they drop out of school and need to go back. Then they go to continuation school to get their high school diploma.
Right.
Oh, they're just letting us read it.
Yeah. So in the U.S., we do kind of have a tier, but not really. Some states are statistically known to have better high schools. And I know, depending on where you're from and what area, I have cousins in both California and D.C. In their areas, the high schools are way more competitive to get into, even though they're public high schools. Like, you want to be from that high school.
What happens if you don't get into high school?
No, you'll get into a high school, but there are some high schools that are better because they have better education and classes that you can take, and there's a better chance for you getting into a good college after that.
I also think there are some very expensive private high schools in the US, right, which are hard to get into and are expensive. That was interesting to me. Yeah, but you don't have the separation in tiers, but what you do have is the advanced classes, right?
So
within one school?
Yeah, usually it depends on the high school, but I went to a public high school, so we would have different classes. CP, which is the base high school level classes, then we had honors classes, which are a little more advanced, and then we had advanced placement classes, which are college level classes, AP and IB classes. So if you took those classes, you had the opportunity to take a test at the end of the year, which could count for college credit.
So at the same school, you have people going to a basics math level. At the same age, people could go to an advanced program with other people, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the division, but within one big school.
Yeah, you're not separating them to different schools because it was so weird to me when you talked about the different schools. What if you're really good at math and you're just like okay at reading or something or language or something? Like, why would you pigeonhole someone?
That's a problem. If you go to the first tier one, you are in all the advanced classes. And it very often happens that people are, for example, good at math and they are very bad at French or a third language.
I could see that helping the people in the advanced school a lot, but it's also hindering people in, like, say, the second tier school or third tier. You're not getting advanced
I think
education.
Might not be as great. We have a couple of these.
I know in the private school system in the U.S., because that's what I went to, was a private Catholic school. Any class that we went to, because it was all college prep, any class we went to was considered a higher level than public schools. So I never took any AP or honors courses, but my GPA had a higher weight than the public school system because I was in a private school, college prep, high school. So that's also something.
Yeah.
Okay.
These integrated schools where they are together and just take classes, but that's very, very small percentage.
Yeah, I thought that was so interesting when he told me about the different tiers because that was a little bizarre to me at first.
Our second point that
in Spain, it's the same way. I know one of our landlord's daughters, she was in a specialized, she was a senior in essence, I think. And
I think it's different out here. Like that, it's like secondary.
I know
school.
it's confusing
it's like
out here too.
After their, I think when they turn 15 or 16, they go to a completely different school.
Yeah,
Or can they be done with school?
But I think you have to do some kind of trade.
Right.
Or she was.
Right.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
We're confused about how it works out here too.
Yeah.
It's different. So we don't understand it.
Yeah.
Just like in Germany.
different is the high school duration, the high school duration. And how is it in the US?
So we have 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade.
4 years
4
only.
years.
And we in Germany used to have 7th to 12th grade, or earlier even to 13th grade, but let's not talk about that. Now it's 12th grades in every state, I think. And nowadays, I think they got rid of middle school, which was 2 years, 5th and 6th.
Yeah.
So now after 4 years of elementary school, we usually go to high school from 5th to 12th grade.
That's crazy. Like fifth can be pre-puberty, and then you have some like grown-ass people in school with you. That would be terrifying as a fifth grader.
So 8 years of high school compared to 4.
Wow.
Yeah. I think when my parents were going to school, they had junior high too, which was some condensed version. I can't remember.
Yeah, what's junior high?
But for the most part, I think it's kindergarten to 5th grade, then 6th, 7th, 8th is middle school, and now high school is the 4 years at the end. But do you have the fan?
Well, but it was different in Las Vegas. In Las Vegas, it was 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had a 6th grade center.
Oh, yeah.
Which was kindergarten and 6th grade.
Oh, yeah. You guys were weird.
And the sixth grade was like half of the day was spent like a regular 6th grader. Mm-hmm. And then the second half of the day was like you were in high school. Like you had lockers, you changed periods. So it was kind of getting you ready for junior high school.
Oh, because your junior high school
was 7th and 8th.
Similar to what high school is going to look like with the lockers and separate classes. Mm-hmm. Every class is a different room.
Right. Mm-hmm. Like you have a bell schedule, all of that stuff. So it was kind of getting you ready for junior high.
The boys were just exactly how she said. Mm-hmm. K through 5, 7, 6, 7, 8, and then high school.
Mm-hmm.
Fancy names for every grade.
No, and they are so hard to learn for a non-native speaker.
I remember being confused when I first went into high school. There's freshman, which is 9th grade, sophomore, which is 10th, junior, which is 11th, and then senior is 12th. And I thought it was so weird to me because junior didn't sound right.
Junior sounds young, right? Exactly. Dude, when I don't know what first I counted that, watching American Pie or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, my sophomore year. Like, what word are you saying? Sophomore?
Such a weird
sophomore?
word.
What is that?
I
think it's kind of cool. You're always like, yeah, I'm my junior year. I'm going to be a senior next year. Look at these sucky sophomores down there.
It's the same in college too. When you have the 4 years, like the average 4-year college, they call those grades the same thing too.
4 years college. College is more than 4 years. I went to college for like 9 years. No, I'm kidding.
That's a stereotype of Europeans. So our third point we want to talk about are the high school grades/scores that you get. For us, we have A, B, C, D, F. We skip E, but it's also based on a 4.0 scale. We have weighted and unweighted GPA based on those advanced placement honors or like regular classes that you take. I remember it being very complicated and calculating my GPA all the time because I wanted to see like what my GPA was because that determines what kind of college you get into.
And GPA is basically your overall high school performance in a number. So colleges know how good of an high school student you were, right?
Yes, thank you for explaining that.
I never know what a GPA was, so I'm like,
it's
what are you
the
talking
thing you
about?
obsess about in high school. Anyway.
So in Germany, you go to school and you usually have grades 1 to 6. Like 1 is the best.
Oh, that's so opposite.
And then 4 is the worst one you can pass with. And we have 2 different grades of failing, 5 and 6. If you fail with a 5, you just failed. But if you fail with a 6, you failed hard. It's
it's failing as a fail. Why would you fail hard?
Because you combine the grades overall in the end too. If you have 2 or 3 5s on your transcript at the end of the year, you have to redo the class. If you have 1 6, I think you have to redo the class. Something like that. So the 6 is way worse. Sense. It's very hard to get a 6. I think 5s happen sometimes. I think I had 1 or 2 5s on the transcript in my entire school.
She's disappointed.
Career.
Interesting.
But
that's interesting. Like, I wonder how they do the grading. You know, because they have, you know, like a B is a like a 3.0.
So it doesn't matter if you fall anywhere within the 1 category. There's no A plus, A minus. You're just 1, no matter what. You get a 1.
Right.
And then a 2 is B plus, B minus.
Right.
And then I don't know. Is that what was your question?
Yeah. Well, I'm just wondering how they do the grading. Like when if you have a 80%, that is a 3.0. If you have like an 80, I don't know, say 84%, it's like a 3.2 or 3%. And so that's how they come up with their grade point average. But I don't know if they have like a 1, you get a 1.2 or 1.7 or so. You just get a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4. You know, you probably don't know. But
yeah. Maybe there's a scale like how there is one in the United States. Or they don't do GPA. They don't do GPA.
I know, but they just do the numbers. So I'm just wondering, you know, do you have like because in the United States they have a 3.7 GPA.
Right.
So that is a B, but it's like a high B.
Mm-hmm.
So is there like a high 3 or a high 4? Or you just have a 3 or you just have a 4?
Maybe it's just that's it.
Yeah.
You're 3. You lucked out because you're a sucky 3, but you're 3.
Yeah. I wonder if there's any requirements for colleges. I don't know if they would talk about this here, but if you have to have a certain GPA to get into a certain college or something like that.
Well, they don't have GPA, so they a certain
whatever they
like no 5s and 6s,
right?
Or I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. I never had to repeat a class. So
we wouldn't have been friends. I was kidding.
Oh wow.
Please.
That's so interesting because logically it makes sense. The best score.
He's all pleased. We would have been friends.
I was kidding.
She was probably
That's so interesting because logically it makes sense. The best score should be 1, but in the U.S. the best score is either a 5.0 or a 4.0, and the worst is like a 1 or a 0.
However, when you approach the later part of high school, 11th, 12th, and formerly 13th grade, I think 11th, 12th now, it's called the Oberstufe, it's the upper class, like the seniors, They changed the grade system all of a sudden to 0 to 15. And 15 is the best. So you collect these points, and then at the end you just get a grade. When you graduate, you're like, you graduated high school with a 2.1.
Cool. Do you have class ranks? Like, do you have a valedictorian, the first in the class, like the best person who gives a speech at the end of the year?
No. I think that's so high school movie-like.
Yeah, it really is.
One point of this video is all what we see from high schools are from these movies, like 10 Things I Hate About You, Mean Girls,
Freaks and Geeks TV show.
What is it? 21 Jump Street.
21 Jump Street.
All these, and it seems so cliche. And when I met Deanna, I noticed that a lot of that stuff is true, and I think that's so interesting from a foreign perspective that a lot of these things seem to be true. And really, that's the best student is called the valedictorian, right? With the best grade.
Yeah.
And he's mandatory, has to do...
He?
Yeah, he...
She?
It?
Exactly.
They. Just say them.
They just have to do the speech. It must be great for the others. I look at the warm. Okay, so now we're gonna get a little bit into the daily school routine, and our 4th point is gonna start with getting to school. Do you want to start?
There are a lot of options getting to school. You can walk, you can take the bus, you can carpool, or you can drive yourself.
Nobody walks in America.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of people. My mom walked to her high school because it was close by.
Oh, well. All right. But the big question, do you all go in these big yellow school buses? Like in the movies.
So in elementary and middle school, I took the school bus more, but in high school, we had carpool. Because in the U.S., you can drive at the age of 16, sometimes 15.
Yeah.
I had upperclassmen friends, so you could always carpool with one of them. I think a lot of people take the bus, though.
Yeah. I don't want to skip that.
I took a bus.
You took a bus?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was a private school. We lived about 40 minutes from the private school. So, and it just happened to have a bus go to it.
Right.
So we hopped on the bus, a yellow bus. Every day.
Because that is fascinating to me. When we were in the US, I saw that. I saw these yellow buses like they look in the movies. They drive around these suburbs, the neighborhoods, and stop at every door, right? They bring you to your house. We had people coming from the villages to our small town, and they take a normal bus, like a
public transportation
like a
bus.
line,
Right.
like a normal bus, and they stop at the bus stop. And for us, a lot of us in the small town, we walked or drove our bikes to school, like bicycles, and then we only can drive when we're 18 or 17 now, but only with a legal guardian, so really just 18.
Yeah.
So we were only able to drive like in the last year or something like
So
that to school.
Yeah, I think, when I turned 16, I drove to start driving to school.
Yeah.
And then,
I never drove to school.
because my mom would take us sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
and then she got tired of taking us because it was so long, and then we drove. And then the boys, they used to ride their scooters, and I would take them.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, I took a bus.
Yeah.
And way on the other side of town.
Yeah, you had to go way over there. A school bus, a regular yellow bus?
A school bus, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we were only able to drive like in the last year or something like
So
that to school. And we had a very small parking lot.
My high school parking lot was like a Walmart parking lot. It's huge.
That's ridiculous.
Because there were so many people that drove. And I remember being 15 and getting my restricted. But if I got an approval from my coach, my athletic coach, I was able to drive to school and back with it. That was my state in South Carolina. You were allowed to do that.
Cool.
There's always these kids with like crazy cars, like Mercedes, BMWs, and they would always park in the front to show off how nice their car was because their parents owned some like car dealership or something.
That is so movie-like.
It's so funny.
Mustang or whatever, yeah.
I drove a Chevy Astro van, a tan one.
But driving a van as your first car is kind of cool. Like a crappy van, like a band van.
No.
So I remember in high school, I mean, I never had a car, but they had, I don't know, what do you call them? Where like the concrete blocks where you park against in the parking lot?
Oh, the bumpers?
Yeah, I guess that's what you would call them. But it was like, you couldn't wait to get a car because you would paint and design, you would decorate your little bumper for...
The seniors only got that.
Yeah, I don't know. I just remember seeing a bunch of decorated ones.
Oh, yeah. I remember our seniors only got designated parking spots.
Yeah.
You might have even had to pay for it because I feel like not everyone had them. And I remember because it was a private school, it was a bunch of like hoity-toities there. And we were not hoity-toity. I mean, we barely even, I don't even know how we managed to do it. But they all had their Mercedes and their BMWs. And it's not like Mercedes in Germany because I know those are a dime a dozen. Right. But over there it was expensive. And their Lexus and Audis. And I remember we had to drive in my uncle's piece of crap. It was like this long cholo looking. It was so embarrassing.
I don't know if they know what that means. Cholo looking.
Oh, cholo looking. It's like a Mexican. You know, like orale cholo. You know, like cholo. Okay. I don't know.
I know what it means. I don't know what you.
Yeah, I don't even know how to describe it. Yeah. Like Cheech and Chong. I don't know if you guys didn't even know what that is.
No, this is going down.
It's going down here. But the story is that it was so embarrassing that I never parked it in the school parking lot. I would always park it in the neighborhood because it was like, oh God. Yeah.
Well, at least you had a car. One of the things that I like about not having a car until you turn 18 is that you eliminate obviously the safety thing because people 16, 17, I don't know how they're able to drive. But I think it also eliminates some of the social pressures.
Exactly.
Like if you don't have a car, I mean, it can be embarrassing. All these things.
All your friends have a car, especially when you go to private. All those girls had cars.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Funny.
Mustang or whatever, yeah.
I drove a Chevy Astro van, a tan one.
But driving a van as your first car is kind of cool. No. Like a crappy van, like a band van.
No, it wasn't cool in high school. Or at least for me, I felt a little embarrassed to drive it. But I was happy to have a car to drive to school, to be honest.
I want a van. Okay, and then point number 5. Continuing with the daily routine. I think in Germany, we start around 7:45. Something right before 8 a.m. When do you start? I think there are a couple of differences there.
Yeah, I think it depends on the state and the school. I just looked up my high school website and it says it started at 8:45, but I'm pretty sure it was earlier. I
want to go there.
No, I think it was like 8:20 or 8 o'clock when I went to school. And then you end at like 3 or 3:30.
Wow. Yeah. If that's true, I wished I went to the...
That what time you ended?
I feel like it was later than that. But maybe 3:30.
Yeah. I remember I feel like it was like 7 in the morning for us.
You guys were early.
We were early.
Did you just take the bus that early?
No, I think school started early. Probably because it was in Vegas and it's hot. And so they try to get you in and out early or something. Because school was over like 1:30. Because I remember getting home at like, I used to watch a soap opera every day when I got home.
Yeah.
And it always started at 2:06. That's when I got home. I don't know why. I just remember that. So school was probably over about 1:15 or 1:30 or something, and I was home by 2:06 to watch my soap opera. So it was awesome. but then we lived away on the other side of town. They had to bus us out of that neighborhood because it was where all the black people in Las Vegas lived. So they didn't want segregated high schools in that area. So we had to be bused away across town, and we had to leave super early.
Right.
Yeah.
So did we. Well, because my school was 40 minutes away. I feel like we left around 7:10 every morning. So we had to be at the bus stop, so my mom had to drive us to the bus stop. Yeah. Because we live kind of out in the boonies. So it was early.
But I hated getting up early. It was the worst in high school. We had to be there at like 7:45. You go right in and it starts. The usual time frame is you either have 6 periods, 3 double ones, or 8. The normal finishing time I think was 1:30. And if you have 8, it's around 3 p.m.
Your classes were shorter then.
Yeah, 45 minutes, 1 period, double period, 1.5 hours.
Yeah. So at least for my high school, we all had these half lockers and we had 7 periods and I'm pretty sure they were like 50 to 55 minutes per class. And in between classes, you would have to switch to a different class because we had different teachers for each subject. Did you guys have that too?
Yeah, we had to switch. But funny thing, the locker situation, that is so movie. Dude, I want one of these lockers. We didn't have that. It's so sad. Germany is just sad in comparison. It did mean people sometimes write something bad on somebody.
Well, so the reason they had lockers is because you had so many books and everything.
Yeah.
That you had to carry. So because of all the classes and your book and all this stuff. So that's why you had lockers. Yeah,
and depending on where your class was, you would either take the couple books that for that class way on that end of school. Then or some people would just go to their locker every time and just like,
get the book.
Yeah.
So I wonder what they did with their stuff that they had all day.
Did you guys just have to carry it around all day long?
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at him like, what did you do? Yeah.
Sad. Germany is just sad in comparison. It did mean people sometimes write something bad on somebody's locker.
I feel like that never, maybe it did happen. I don't remember.
Or locked a poor little one in their locker and closed it and we're like,
nah.
I do remember the gym lockers though, and they were horrible because I think they were a little bigger and you could actually put someone in there, but I feel like the whole gym locker situation in general was horrible because you had to change in front of people while going through puberty, and that was like the worst.
Yeah, we never did that. Horrible. We never showered. After PE.
Oh, we didn't shower. You just had to change into these nasty gym uniforms and then
But you keep your underwear on.
Yeah, and bra. And so it was just gross and sweaty if you actually did sports, and then you'd have to just change. It was horrible.
Yep. All right, so going back to our school, we only had like 2 breaks over the entire day, and they were just 20 minutes. And we did not have like a canteen or a cafeteria. All we had was a little kiosk where guys sold like chocolate bars, milky drinks, or a bread roll with like a slice of cheese on it. That was our breaks, and we didn't really do anything. We just ran around or played like soccer on the schoolyard with like a tennis ball because the big ones weren't allowed.
We weren't even allowed outside because we weren't allowed to leave the school. Well, not unless you had a teacher. Like for lunch, you had to stay in this giant cafeteria, and it kind of looks like the movies. There are different seats and everything, or at least for my school, like the jocks sat together, like the smart kids, the people who are in cross country sat together.
That's the beginning of every high school movie.
I think in the high school movies they make it way more dramatic than it actually is, but you tend to sit with your clique or your group of people you hang out with.
Right.
They're the jocks that wear their Letterman jackets every day to school. There are always these hot girls and guys that look like hot adults in high school. They didn't go through that awkward like teenage stage, and I don't understand.
Yeah,
and I had braces and I was straightening my hair fugly.
Like my puberty was one weekend when I was 11, and then I come out as a hot 13-year-old. That's like people.
Wow.
Oh, you're talking.
I'm not talking about me.
Hot
I'm just talking about. Yeah, I know.
We couldn't leave the school. Could you leave the school?
No.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can leave the school once you got to like
a senior.
It was a senior?
12th grade.
Yeah, okay.
Then you had your car and you could go get to Taco Bell or whatever.
There were all those cliques and everything. Were they not like that in Germany? I'd be curious to know. I think that is another source of, stress.
The cliques.
Yep. 100%. All those cliques. And lucky for me, I was just into music. So every lunch, every break I had, I just went to the music side of the school and was in the choir room or orchestra room or something.
Well, we didn't have to stay in that cafeteria or whatever, like she's saying.
No.
You don't have to stay in
Well, you have to stay on the campus, though.
You have to stay on the campus, but you could, like, run around and, like, hide somewhere. Or, you don't have to go into the cafeteria.
Right.
Seen your photos.
Like, what's going on? No skin problems, no nothing.
Is that him?
Oh.
That's him.
How cute.
Yeah.
Aww.
Like,
I've seen your photos.
Like, what's going on? No skin problems, no nothing.
Yeah, no acne. It's not as big as the movies, but there are definitely cliques. I remember at least my high school had it. But I think it's also if you go to a bigger public high school, it tends to happen.
Yeah, I can't speak for every high school in Germany, but mine is on the country here. There's barely any diversity. So I don't know, boring again.
Yeah, it sounds horrible.
But these jocks that you're talking about, it's so funny that you say they actually wear these jackets. That is the most American high school thing you ever see. It's always these jackets. I always wanted
colors
one.
on them.
But speaking of them, I want to talk about point number.
So they don't? I mean, I guess not.
What?
They don't have these Letterman jackets.
Yeah, I guess not.
This is the thing. This is
I know
all this made up stuff.
It's bad. It's bad for kids.
Yeah, it doesn't even need to happen because that is another source of stress for kids.
Mm-hmm.
You know that you get bullies because you're a nerd like me, music nerd. You know, and so you get people who pick on you because they're the jocks with the Letterman jackets and the football team and all that kind of stuff. So. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, as in the all girls, the boys they did all that stupid Letterman jacket stuff and everything, and our girls, because we had a uniform, we didn't have all weird stuff.
But you know what else it does? Sorry, it makes like it separates you by classes because it takes money to get a Letterman's jacket.
Yeah.
Or to get a graduation ring or all those things. And me, I could never afford it. We never got any of those things.
Yeah.
And so
that's true. Everybody was wearing their, what is it, junior or senior class ring?
Yeah. Those
are all movies too.
They go
we
to
couldn't afford those either.
I could never afford to go to a prom. I never went to one. I mean, I went to some dances after school.
Yeah, I went to some dances
but I couldn't afford a prom because you need a suit and all this, $500 dresses and all this kind of, I didn't need a dress, but and if I did, it's no problem, but I didn't.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see.
6, which is sports and extracurricular activities. And I think in America, there's just way more value and emphasis on sports in high school and college, right? Whereas with us, that was really not a big thing.
I mean, I think it varies on region to region. We have more American football is the biggest thing. On Friday evenings, people would go to the football games and watch the football players play football. Yeah. But we had track and field, swimming, softball. I was a part of the swim team and the long distance track team. You could be basketball. There's everything.
It's so interesting how normal you speak about it. We have that. We don't have any. High school is not for sports. You have one time a week you have PE, which is mandatory. Yeah. That's PE. That's in your normal schedule.
Wow.
But then we don't have a basketball team. We don't have a football team. All we had was like 1 or 2 opportunities as a extracurricular activity, like a club. We had like a chess club. We tried in like 11th or 12th grade to do a little flag football team, but that was really, we just got these things and we're like, can we maybe use the sports facilities for an hour after school? And it was like paperwork and stuff. Yeah, you can. That was our club, was like 6 people.
Oh.
And there are no sports offered officially by the high school. Like, that is not a thing.
Interesting.
I think that is awesome.
Yeah.
Because again, obviously, people could tell I must have had a troubled high school. Because everything is stress. But that's another source of stress.
Well,
and it can hinder your grades because that's what you spend time practicing and all of these things. So
that's true because, and then, people rely on that to go to college.
Right.
To get their scholarships.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a big deal. And then colleges accept students who have grades because they're stars in their high school basketball team or whatever.
Yeah. And then because college is so expensive, you have parents that will invest in their kids at a young age. Because I used to work at a sports performance center where we help people get faster, jump higher, all of those things.
True.
And you had kids in there like 5 years old because their parents were like, I'd rather spend, $1,000 a year for the next 13 years. That's 13,000 and have them get a scholarship instead of spending, 40,000 a year for 4 years. So 160,000. So I'll invest a little bit right now.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And the emphasis is not in the education. It's in what kind of sport can I get them into so I can get a scholarship?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, there's some good things that come from sports, obviously.
Well,
a lot of life lessons, but
there are some life lessons.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that just your high school or is that all of high schools in Germany?
Let me know. I don't know. My high school was like that.
That's crazy.
Let me know if you're from like a bigger city, if there are sports teams like that.
Yeah, seriously, let us know because I was interested. When he told me that at first, it blows my mind because there's not a lot that I enjoyed about high school, but the one thing that I really enjoyed was being a competitive athlete.
And you compete against other high schools,
yeah, you get to go to competitions or track meets or swim meets, and we had like the French Honor Society and the Spanish Society and chess club. and all these other clubs too. Also, another thing that we had was like additional schooling. So there was sometimes a culinary center or like an art center that you could go to. Senior year, I had enough credits where I applied to this art center. So part of the day I went to do like art projects and stuff like that because I was really interested in that. One of my good friends in high school, he went to a culinary school for part of the day. Let us know also if you're from a different area of the U.S. what kind of high school you went to, and did you have these big sports things like I'm talking about? Because I think I just went to a very big public high school.
Yeah, it just sounds so much better to me. We don't have any of that.
I don't get it because you get off of school so early that what did you do the rest of the day? Like I was filled with either I was working my job or doing sports. That's what you did after high school.
When you're a teenager, you think about girls or play video games. All right, and our seventh and hopefully last one we're going to talk about here is something like school events, like balls and the prom.
God.
Balls?
Isn't that what it's called? We go to the ball.
Yeah, well, we have like prom and homecoming, stuff like that, where everyone gets these really tacky dresses and you wear suits and tux.
Wow.
Oh, was that her?
Yeah. King.
And there's homecoming
Like the
court.
movies.
I forgot about those things.
We had one prom, that's it. Like high school, 7 years or whatever. Prom and done.
We have junior and senior prom. So as a junior or a senior, you're allowed to go. If you're a guy or a girl and a senior or junior asks you when you're a freshman or sophomore, you can go
Then
to
you're
the
hot property.
hot property. It's so weird. Now that I think back at it, it's kind of ridiculous. People would ask people to prom and like proper proposals, like big letters. Will you go to prom with me, Katie or Stephanie? Will you be my prom date? Or Sarah? Well, usually guys were asking girls, especially in the South.
But do you do these events like what is homecoming? What is
homecoming is in the fall and it's for football, American football, and I remember I had to walk on the football field with my dad because I was the date of this football player.
Dude, so like I said, I don't think we had any of these crazy events.
They are crazy. You have, if you go around homecoming time, just in any city, you're going to see tables of 20 high school students all in tuxedos and prom dresses and everything. And they're just like,
well, and it's terrible.
They drive limousines. Well, they
drive limousines. Yeah. For a homecoming, isn't that where you vote for a queen and a king?
Yeah.
Yeah, so see how it's BS.
That is BS because it's popularity contest.
It's all popularity.
And there again is another point of stress because if you're not cool enough or pretty enough to become a high school king or queen or a homecoming king or queen, and that poses a problem, and then you're not one of the cool kids.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like people were going around like, vote for Anastasia for queen and,
It was
whatever.
a popularity contest.
Yeah.
It wasn't because you did something amazing. It was just a popularity contest. So if you were the coolest one, you got somebody to vote for you.
Yeah, I remember always feeling like I only went to like one of those, and just watching them all come on their. It's like typical of what you see on TV, where they're all on top of a car, like a convertible car, and they're all just waving. And I just remember just feeling so cringe and like I didn't use that word back then, but just being like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like sometimes there's a little bit of a Christmas decoration for the last day of school, and instead of one period math, you do like breakfast. That's a thing. But yeah, in the end, like event, you graduate, you go to prom, very boring, just a rented hall, not much money there, music, drink, done.
What? Really?
That's it.
You didn't have prom themes? Like our student council body, the group of student council people that were elected went all out. It was either Paris theme or Vegas theme or some obnoxious theme. I'm not trying to be insensitive to people.
Your graduation class has a theme. And ours was Star Wars.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
You have so many more social situations where you obligated to do things.
Yeah. So we would have like pep rallies during school to hype up the football players or the basketball players, and you had to wear your school color, and the mascot would be running around the field, and there'd be games with the teachers. I didn't really want to be there, but also a lot of people loved it.
I think the high school system in the US forces you way more to have these social interactions, to do sports, to go to events and do all that stuff.
All right, so that was our awkward trip down high school memory lane. There's some things I really liked about high school and a lot of things I really didn't like about high school. Yeah. But it was interesting when we were talking about our differences between schools.
And I think everybody has that feeling. Thinking back about high school, you're like, damn, it was such a good time. All you have to worry about is to go to school and do your thing. But I think while I was in there, like, not a lot of people really love it.
Yeah, I remember it being pretty horrible.
But then you miss it afterwards.
No.
I don't know about that.
But my takeaway definitely is that a lot of these things that you told me, that you talked about in this video and in the last couple of years, a lot of the stuff is true that you see in the movies, and American high schools are really different than the ones in Germany, or at least my experience.
Yeah, I think based on our experience, it's two totally different things.
Yeah.
I'm curious to other people. Let us know in the comments how your high school experience was or is if you're still in high school.
Please let us know from the US and Germany too. Like if you're from a bigger city or somewhere, let us know what your experience was.
Yeah, I'm so curious to see. Anyways, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Wow. Yeah, that's super interesting. So
I know the boys did not have good high school experiences.
Yeah.
And I remember always telling them, just wait. The real world's not like this. Just wait. That was like how I got them through it, because it was like,
yeah, but the real world is almost like that in the US.
Well, it wasn't a lot of, you're not getting teased,
right,
and bullied, that's and having this awkward. Yeah. Constant awkwardness. Yeah. That high school was because of the cliques. And
it's so interesting. It's like in the US, mostly high school is about the social piece. It's not about the grades.
No.
Obviously you have to get grades, or otherwise you'll be kicked out of school. But here it seems like it's not about, here in Germany, it's not about the social aspect.
It's about the
much.
education.
It's about the education.
Well, what?
Well, imagine that school. Education in school, that is crazy.
I know, it's wrong.
I'm being sarcastic.
I know you are.
Well, you're supposed to laugh.
Oh.
Thanks. That's much better. What were you saying? No, that's wrong.
It's wrong that we focus in the US on the social aspects, or even sports aspect.
Yeah.
And like she's asking, what did you guys used to do? I didn't do sports in high school.
Right.
Well, I focused on, I think my parents kind of had us focus on education, so I did homework. Yeah.
I did basketball. I did 1 year of football. I did I think 1 year of baseball, and then I did basketball. And I remember, because in basketball, like I said, we lived on the other side of town, so I had to go to bed early. I had to leave the house super early, and the bus after school stopped at multiple places.
Right.
And so
you were last.
I was the last one because the bus yard was closest to my house. So I was the first one in the morning to be picked up, and then the last one. Ugh. So I would get home, we had practice, and then after practice, I get home like 7, 8 at night, and my grades were just not good. And I remember it was before a game. I'll never forget this. It was before the game. I am sitting in the locker room with my teammates getting ready for the game, and my mother walked in. And she was like, "You are done playing basketball because your grades are crap." And so and that was it. Like that. Like I didn't even play the game. Like I just grabbed my stuff and went home, and that was it. I was done with the team. Yeah. So, but
she could have picked a better time to do that. She could have picked
a better time, but she didn't care. She just didn't want me to get bad grades. So,
that's funny.
Yeah. Anyway, so it's an interesting experience, and it's refreshing to know that places like Germany and Spain, it's more about, it's not all these social pressures that puts people in different, cliques and all of these things. So
it's good to know that our grandchildren and future whatever aren't going to have to deal with that.
Yeah. All right. Woo, boy, this is a long video. So what's happening? Comments? Oh yeah. No? Okay, thanks. I forgot. It was so long. So usually when it's long, I try and hurry. Do this here. Okay, let's see what the people got to say. All right. So, okay. We can honestly talk about this topic. I know this is from them, but I'll read it. We can honestly talk about this topic for hours. We had to cut a lot of this video, and we didn't even cover topics like dress code, teachers, lunches, scholarships, social dynamics, and so much more. Let us know what your high school experience was. Yeah, it's like, I'm German and currently in high school, and you're right. We don't have sports clubs, but we have choirs and cool and technological clubs.
Oh, that would have been good for you.
Oh yeah, that would have been perfect. Oh my god. Okay, you forgot Gesamtschule. I went to a Gesamtschule. I wonder what that is, and it is basically. I think it's one of the schools. Schule is school. Okay, and it is basically a combination of gymnasium, Realschule, and Hauptschule. Also, my school had 60 minutes. Okay. Had 60-minute lessons with one 20-minute break and one 60-minute break.
60-minute break.
You both are an explosion of good mood. That is true.
Okay.
All right. Okay. We have a Patreon.
Let's not think about high school.
Yeah. If you want to support the channel further than you're already doing, we have free options and paid options. And both of those options will give you a link to Discord where we have a lot of fun. So you go ahead and do that. And as always, thank you for stopping by. And we'll see you on the next video.
Bye.
Peace.